months after slavery ended, Mississippi passed a law to seize black children and give them to white families. They called it apprenticeship, but it was slavery returning through paperwork. They were not criminals, they were not runaways. They were orphans or children the state claimed their parents couldn't properly care for. In 1865, Mississippi created a law giving sheriffs power to take any black child they found unemployed or unsupervised, and once taken they were handed to white masters or mistresses. Black parents begged the courts for their children, but the law said white families had the right to keep them. Children worked fields, cleaned houses, raised white babies, all under contracts signed against their will. But freedmen didn't stay silent. Parents filed petitions, black churches protested. Some families stole their own children back in the night. This system spread across the South, Virginia, Georgia, Louisiana, North Carolina. It lasted years after slavery ended, stealing childhoods and shattering families. They weren't slaves anymore, but they were not free. Why don't we learn about the law that let white families own black children after slavery? Why do textbooks celebrate freedom, but hide the systems that kept us in chains? And how many stories like this still remain buried? More than 10 million voices were silenced. Histora is here to make them heard again. Follow Histora.
This is the book of
Shabbat Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechaha Kwadash, to the apostles and elder bishop of Great Millstone who rule well. I like to get double honor. Shalom to the 144,000, to the 1/3, to the hopeful elect. We're here with a lesson I'm going to call Through Mischievous Laws, they further our affliction. And I'm doing a land back video off the brother Truth is Fierce. Hey, subscribe to this brother channel and be edified. He does great videos. But I was watching his video and the spirit jumped on me to do a lesson about how Esau, Edom, as you seen in the video, even at the slavery, furthered Jake's affliction after our time was over with. They created this law, which we know as the black codes, to be able to take the children of Jake and put them back into slavery, even when slavery was supposed to end. They created a way through their system to where they can get those slaves that were freed back in their control, which shows you the wickedness of this man Esau, Edom. And as the video said, they'll talk about everything but how Esau came after Jake, even when Jake was supposed to be free. None of that get talked about, but they'll love to put Abraham Lincoln on this pedestal. But you won't talk about how there was certain laws created to bring Jake back down into slavery after we supposed to been freed, supposedly. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into our first scripture, which is Isaiah 10, verses 1 and 2. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree and write grievousness which they have prescribed. And that's all this black codes really was. Unrighteous decree to be able to take the so-called black children back into slavery after they were so-called free. And they used that law to get around, any public, how shall I put it, negativity of what they're doing. Or they were saying, hey, this child don't have no parents, or the parents wasn't fit to raise these children. So why not put them in a so-called white home to be field hands, to clean the houses, to watch our children? Why not give them a better way of life than to leave them with their parents to be raised right? Because this was before Jake became the degenerate vine that he is today. This was when Jake actually had unity, Salaki, unity amongst each other. So you'll see a family structure where, where the wife listens to the husband, and the man will go out and work and fix and do everything for his family. So Jake wasn't the degenerate he is today, where the woman rule everything, and the male Jake is effeminate and lazy and don't want to do nothing. This is when Jake was still in good cases, what I'm trying to say. So to say they was unfit to raise their children was really crazy. Then to make a law to make sure you can say that and take those children just so you can put them back into slavery because they were so-called freed is even wilder to me. But this is the man Esau Edom. So these unrighteous decrees that they did to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans during this time is no surprise. It just shows their wickedness. And like I said, I looked it up earlier, and they call these the Black Code. So I asked AI what was the Black Code, and the AI overview was the laws that allowed for the taking of black children after slavery were the Black Code, a set of restrictive laws passed by southern states immediately after the Civil War. These, these codes included vagrancy laws and allowed for the forced labor of black orphans or children of destitute parents. In South Carolina, for example, a black orphan or child could be legally apprenticed to a white employer until they reach the age 18 for female and 21 for male against their will. So here's the thing. How can they become an apprentice to someone they don't want to work for? Not apprenticeship meaning I come to you and ask you if you're a blacksmith, can I be an apprentice to you? Can I learn your trade and you teach me? Not you come take me out of my house, throw me on the ground and tell me, hey, you're gonna do whatever I say. That shows you no leeway in it. But it also shows you the wickedness of Esau Edom. They took orphan or destitute children who weren't destitute, as I just said. They just trying to make it seem like their parents was unfit to raise them, and, and forced them into slave labor again. Then called it an apprenticeship. And you know, with the females, they raped them. Heck, with the boys, they raped them too. Cause Esau Edom was still mad that Jake supposedly had got freed. So you know they took out all kind of anger, frustration, resentment, uh, and whatever else negative emotion they can come up with on Jake. And they used their laws, this unrighteous decree of black codes, to do those things. Now the funny thing is, they still doing it today. As the scriptures say, there's no new thing under the sun. When I went into the black codes and started reading it, the spirit jumped on me to say, man, that kind of sounds like CPS, Child Protective Services. So I end up asking AI overview, I think, would CPS be considered like black codes of today or something like that? Can CPS, that's what I asked, can CPS be called a form of black code? And AI overview said some advocates and scholars argue that weaponized or discriminatory application of child protective services, particularly disproportionate targeting of black families, because we seen that's what they did immediately after slavery with the black code. They targeted those so-called black families. Can be seen as modern day form of systematic control akin to black code. Both involve the use of state power to surveil and separate families, and both have historically and currently resulting in the disruption of black families and the enforcement of systematic inequality. Though CPS is a distinct form from the explicit legal codes of the 19th century. It's not that distinct, but that just shows you, as the Lord say, there's no new thing under the sun that include people, policies, and dynasties. And that's what we're seeing. A policy that's supposed to be over with just got renewed and changed to something else, to a whole new entity with the same wicked background. But that's why the scripture said, woe to them who decree unrighteous decrees. Because it's going to come a time they got to pay for making these evil ass laws. Remember, Yahweh by Shema Shai is a man of balance. A just weight is his delight. But with laws like this, it's made unjust. It's made unbalanced. So they're going to have to pay for that. So let's return back to the Isaiah 10 and 2. To turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people. And that's what they did. They took the right from away from from us for raising our kids. Why? Because they still wanted us as slaves. So they pushed these unrighteous decrees upon us, upon our children, and just took them as they doing today. Yet widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And that's what they did. As we seen in the video, as we read in the text, the orphan children, most time both parents are gone, but mainly the fathers were killed during the time of the Civil War. And really they either had their mother left, who probably wasn't dead yet, but ended up getting killed, or even if she was there, they just took her from her, a widow. But before I go, I want to get that word rob. Because we seen them robbing us plenty of time. There's many of movies, books, and things that show them spoiling the children of Israel during and after slavery, as we just seen. This is Strong H 962.
Strong's H 962. Bazaz. Bazaz.
Bazaz. A primitive root to plunder, catch, gather, take for a prey, robber, to spoil, to take away, to spoil. That's what they were doing. They were spoiling our children. They was taking them away. They were seizing them. The biblical outline uses to spoil, to plunder, to prey upon, to seize. And this right here describes those black codes in CPS today. How they spoil and plunder the so-called black Latinos and Native Americans with those unrighteous decrees by targeting them more than they target even some of these so-called white, Asian, Hindu, whatever other nation. They target the children of Israel more. And I've seen plenty of videos where they get out there and Jake had to stand up for his family. I remember them coming to one man's house and telling him he need to bring his son out. The dude like, no, I'm not bringing my son out. He like, you ain't got no court order? No, I ain't got no court order, but you need to bring him out. He like, nah, hey, till you get a court order, you ain't seeing my son. He all right, he in there, he cool. He try to come in with the police or whatever, but that shows you. They were ready to take that man's son away from him, where he was at a good home, apparently. just to put them in this child protective services and ship them off to some foster home and let some perverted Edomite white man take the child and do who knows what. Because I also seen an article where they had these two gay Edomite adopting children and molesting them, adopting little boys and molesting them. But that goes into that wickedness of their system because they're using these unrighteous decrees to bring hell upon Jake. Like I said, immediately after, and even to today. Because as it says in Ezekiel 35:5, in the time of our calamity had an end, they continue to afflict us. They continue to kill us. They continue to make these laws and restrictions against Jake to further their affliction. Because Yahweh Bashim Hawashai was done with us after slavery. Like, all right, y'all served y'all time. That's it. But what Edom did? Nah, they finished your time. They ain't on our time. Our time start now. And they furthered their affliction of Jake using these laws, these black codes, this CPS like they do today, to take our children and put them in slavery, to cause them to look like bad children or unfit parents. Now, today there's a lot of unfit parents. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of unfit parents when it comes to Jake. But back then, during those times, man, Jake was just trying to survive. Jake didn't have the hundreds of years of brainwashing to be turned against each other and all that. Jake was a family man. Eve was a respectable woman. Now they had stuff here and there, but it wasn't nothing like it is today. But that shows you, man, how evil Esau Edom truly is, man. To go in and take our children like he did. I mean, as the scriptures say, we were given into his hand, and our children being taken into slavery was part of the curses, which we're going to get. Just to show you, this is Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. See, we didn't have no army to protect us or to get our children back. So we had to watch as they go off into slavery. Now, after they got free, what Esau Edom did? Turned back around and did the same thing, but he used laws. He used his mischievous ways to gain a foothold. So it looked like, all right, this so-called black boy has no parents, or this so-called black boy parents ain't good enough to take care of him. We're going to take him. We're going to take care of him. It just so happened we're going to put them back in the field where they was originally at. All right? We're going to shoot down to verse 41. Thou shalt beget, slocking. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. And that shows you, man, even after slavery was over with, they made these laws, these black codes, to put our children right back into slavery. And they turn around again today and use those same codes with CPS as we just showed. As I just showed you with the AI overview, that said they both alike. So they doing it again. No new thing under the sun, man. And who's doing this? Esau Edom. But Jake will fight tooth and nail to protect these people when they doing the same thing over to you. I remember one day, Big Brother Kai called me, and he helped me out in a situation. I was down in the dumps, and I needed to hear that. He like, look, devil only know how to do things one way. He gonna continue to attack you with what he know. Basically, mean he gonna use the same plan over and over again. And just like Esau Edom is the physical representation of the spiritual demon Satan, what they do, use the same thing over and over again. That's how they get Jake. It's not that they switch it up. They'll just change a few words, add a line here and there, but it's still the same thing. That's why I went from black codes to CPS. Still the same thing. Same kind of doctrine, move the same kind of way, talking the same kind of people. They just changed it and turned it into an organization instead of a law. See how that works? See how the devil works? He only know how to do that one thing. As the brother told me. He only know how to come at you one way. Now he might switch it up. He'll switch that one way up. But he only know how to come at you one way. All right. We're going to go from there. Back to here, Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? Yeah. They use law to frame their mischief. They use the black codes to continue to further the affliction of Jake by putting them right back into slavery. Think about it. You just got freed. A few months go by. You happy, you free. I ain't got to work on a plantation no more. You a child. You finally get to run around and be a child. Then some random Edomite come grab you by the shirt and just drag your ass off. Now you back into slavery again. Until you so-called 18. Like I said, you know they didn't let them people go. Come on, let's be honest here. For the rest of your life. Now what they do? Oh, you got unfit parents. Whoop. Grab them up. Now you stuck in foster homes with gay Edomites who trying to touch you in explicit places. See, it don't change, man. Same devil, same thing, same wickedness. Framing that mischief by law. Coming after Jake. And they make sure they do it. But see, all this stuff, this is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai building up a case against Esau. From when they go through their punishment, they can't say, well, we didn't know, or we didn't do that. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai got the angels everywhere. And they watching, and they recording, and they reporting back to him. So when the Lord bring all unholy hell upon these people, they can't say nay. Why? Because I got Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. And one of those exhibits is those unrighteous decrees that they use to further the affliction of Jake. It's all recorded, man. The angels on it. I'm going to go here. Amos 1 and 11. Thus says Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. So see, for all this wickedness that Edom done against us, the Lord said, hey, y'all got to get it. I'm not going to turn away this punishment. No matter what, you're going to go through it. Because he did pursue his brother with the sword and did cast off all pity. And his anger did tear perpetually and kept his wrath forever. And how did his anger tear perpetually? Keeping his wrath one way was these unrighteous decrees, the black codes, the taking of the so-called Negro children after slavery was over with, to be freed only to go back into slavery again. Then modern day, take those same black codes, turn it into services, and go after them again, just to continue the affliction of Jake, to continue the decimation of the Israelite when our affliction was supposed to end. So guess what? Since you want to continue to keep your anger, your wrath, your hatred for the children of Israel, Yahweh Shem Shai say, hey, when it's your time to go through punishment, I ain't gonna turn it back because y'all never turned back yours. You could further the affliction of my people. You kept your hand around their neck when it was time to let go. So now, your turn come. Don't be mad. So how Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to solve this problem of 500 years of slavery and counting, and counting? As it says in Baruch, we are yet this day in our captivity. So we still in captivity. So 500 years and counting, these people has had us and did all kind of wicked things and used laws like these black code to do the whatever wickedness they set against Jake. Let's see how the Lord gonna rectify this problem. I remember, the Lord He loves balance, and there's only way to balance this out. This Isaiah 14:2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess the land of Yahweh for service. The house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua for servants and handmaids. So see, it's gonna be your turn. You're gonna be servants and handmaids. You're gonna be cleaning our floors. We ain't gonna let you raise our kids because y'all niggas weird. It ain't gonna happen like that. But guess what? If they need something to drink, we're gonna put spikes all over the floor and you got to crawl over them to go get them something to drink. Or whatever kind of evil thoughts Yahweh Bashim Yahushua put into our thought. But you're gonna be their servants, you're gonna be their handmaid. Your children are gonna have to go into slavery like I was did. And they shall take them captives, who captives there were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So see, we're gonna rule over you with a rod of iron. We're gonna make all the things you did to us seem like child's play. And after this is over with, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is gonna burn you up. According with Obadiah. He's gonna completely destroy you. Because people like the Edomites can't exist anymore. Not for the wickedness they done. They took that evil and ran with it. So even though right now y'all are in the driver's seat, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is slowly creeping up. And he's going to repay you for all the wickedness you done. Especially black code, especially CPS, and especially all these unrighteous decrees that you used against his people to further their affliction after it was over with. But that's all I had on that. Hope this video will edify. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chahak Wadash, and Shalom.